In this video, I'm going to illustrate how to add sources to the Noodletools MLA source generator. Once you have entered your project, you're going to either open up that project, or you can open up your dashboard, or you can go straight to your sources. Okay, I've already created one source, but I'm going to create another one just to show you how to do it. And then I'm going to show you how to enter that information back into your persuasive writing Google slide presentation that we've been working on. So this is a new source. It is a website. It is a web page. And the URL, I've already copied it from the document, the Google Doc that had the choices on it, and I'm going to choose this source here. And now I want to go back and look at when it was published, the date of publication, and I'm going to scroll down and look for it. Usually those things are at the very bottom of the page. It looks like it was published. The site was created in 2021. The lecture itself, I'm not sure when it was published. I'm just looking here to see if I can find it. And I don't think it's readily accessible. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to put in what I know. And I do know that it was 2021. So I'm going to put in just that year. And then the most recent date of access is today. That's when I have accessed it. Today's the 22nd. And then I'm going to go down to the section that says web page, and the contributor is always going to be author, because we're not sure whether the author was an editor or a translator. In this case, for all practical purposes, we're going to use author on each one of them. The names of the contributors on this is Professor Blight. Okay, Professor Blight. Now, to find out his first name, the first thing I'm going to do is try to open up this video, which is him giving the lecture, because obviously as I'm reading, I see that this is a lecture on the legacies of the Civil War. So the lecture series is a speech series. So let's see if he introduces himself at the beginning. If he does not, then I'll show you how to put in just the name that we know, his last name. Professor David Blight. Okay, now we know his name. We're going to go back in here. David Blight. He's a professor, so the suffix is going to be doctor. Okay, the article title, let's go back and look at that. History 119, the Civil War, Reconstruction Era. Lecture 27, Legacies of the Civil War. Okay, we're going to put all that under here where it says article title. Okay. Name of the website. Go back to the site, and it's Yale University. Okay. Usually the name of the website is going to be in a banner at the top. Okay. Yale University. Type that in. Publisher of the site, this information is usually located at the bottom. It's published by Yale University. Okay, so we're going to put that in again. You're going to have it in there twice. Now, under my annotation, this is the information that I would want to use from that web page. So I can, for the sake of example, I'm just going to make up something. But you, of course, would go back and listen or look at the transcripts of these, listening to that lecture to find out, of course, if you're particularly interested in this, you would want to go into the introduction because that's specifically about the legacies of the Civil War, okay? But I'm going to just make up something for the sake of our practice session here. And I'm going to say this site shows the deficiencies of, spelled it wrong. I want to correct it. Okay, again, I want to stress that I'm just making this up. You're going to have to pull it from the lecture if you so choose to use this source. All right, so once you are finished, you want to make sure this is always included in your final works cited. And then you're going to go up and click Save. And there you will see it automatically fixed my MLA citation perfectly. So now I'm ready to add it to my Google slide. So I'm going to copy all the way to the period, okay? Because this next part is an explanation of my evidence. So I'm highlighting this, Control C. I'm going back to Part B, and I'm ready to put in my second piece of evidence. Okay. So here's my first piece of evidence with Jennifer Weber and her web page. And here's the evidence that I'm going to be using for my first example. And then I've just now copied and pasted the source that I just created. This is the one from Yale University. And if you'll notice back up in the instructions here, it says list your sources in MLA format, then describe one piece of evidence from each source that you think is important for your argument. Okay, so here is my explanation of the first source. And now I'm going to go in and put my explanation of the second source. And I'm going to go back and grab the notes that I made. The deficiencies of slavery. Copy. Paste, and I need to make it a complete sentence. This source highlights the deficiencies of slavery, okay? So notice on this slide that you're going to be graded on, you're going to have two sources and two explanations of your evidence, okay? You can explain it. You don't have to put, You don't have to put the actual evidence in on this slide. You're going to be putting just a description of that evidence in your own words. Okay? And that's how you do Part B on writing an argument. This is actually slide 25.